So if you think that you're a millionaire and you constantly think and you live like you're a millionaire, even if you don't have the money, if your mind is always set on that, it's always like, I'm doing, like you live, you dress, you appear, you act. All those things allow you to eventually formulate the future self. Like you're already living in the future. Welcome to 45 on the Hour podcast. I'm your host, Colt 45, and we're here with the professor.
Coming live from
the teacher.
Coming live from Camarillo, California. We have not burned down. We're still alive.
Oh, we're still alive, guys. It's been gnarly, right?
Last podcast we talked about the fire, and then shortly afterwards, the Kenneth fire got crazy, and my area had to evacuate.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Everyone's been having to evacuate. We've been doing a lot of I wouldn't say rescuing, but just helping. Helping relieve people from their areas, picking them up. Picking up just the immediate things that's being evacuated. Yeah, the moving company has been whatnot.
There's a lot of people who can't do it by themselves. Don't have the know-how, or maybe they're elderly and they need help, right? And then boom, here comes.
Yeah, these people they don't know what to do. And they're just looking for answers. So they usually call and just say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like, can you help me? But yeah, we're doing that. We're getting it done as much as we can, staying alive. So far, it's the destruction's crazy numbers right now. The amount of money to repair everything, I think, is pushing into like the 60s to 70s of billions, from what I understand.
Yeah, cool. If we go back maybe 2 weeks, I'm not thinking about any of this. I'm not thinking about the likelihood of my house to burn down, what fire insurance is, what to lose everything, not your fault, and have to rebuild.
Yeah.
Of course the government has to step in and help. But now we get to see, like, if they are incompetent, inept, all these things that like people are going to get riled up. And man, I just feel bad. Me and Ghost were talking, like, now we see people that we know who are doing like the GoFundMes because their properties, their families, they've been displaced.
Right.
And no fault of their own. They didn't do anything wrong, but here we are.
Right. And a lot of people are just kind of in despair right now. They just don't know really what to do. People have lost their homes. I know there's Airbnbs are doing their thing, right? Offering free, places to live for people that have been displaced by their homes. So like a lot of people are doing good right now.
Yeah.
Trying to help out. And that's good. And that's kind of the motive of this podcast. That's kind of where I wanted to get at. And, I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit more of like a mindfulness thing, and like how you think, and I think a lot of us are thinking small right now. Like when we get kind of trapped and we get kind of comfortable in our own, lives and whatnot, we start, sometimes we just get into that mode of just thinking small because it's just easier, just to think about stuff that's just realistic, things like short-term goals and stuff like that. But for me, I've always thought massive. I always think massive, like huge, like the biggest possible outcome possible. Like
right on.
I want 10 times past that,
Okay.
Even when I work out, it's like I want to lift 500 pounds. I don't think my body could do 500 pounds because of my weight, but I think that I can do it, right? And that's kind of always how I've lived my life. And I think that has a lot to do with everyone that's struggling right now. I think that thinking big is your way out. I think that's what we need. We need to have like a vision of like, hope and dreams.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
we're going to get out of this. It's going to be all right. Maybe I lost my house, but I'm going to rebuild it. Right.
Would you say like thinking big is maybe a bigger step in the realm of like, I think being positive, being optimistic?
Correct. Yeah. And thinking big is difficult because a lot of people think that you're crazy and people might judge you for it. It's funny, like I'll go back into it. So when I was a kid, I think everyone just thought I was delusional. I just everything I had to do, everything that I wanted to do was 1,000%. There was no 100% of something. Like I already made the cut of like what was acceptable, but I wanted to do more. I always wanted to push myself more, and I always thought I was like three people in one because I felt like I could just do more, and I wanted to do more, and I think I needed to do more. I was like, Like it was my gift.
Were you like around a group of people, or this was just your own thing? This is like
This was my own thing. I always felt like
right
a
on.
loner, man. I did.
This is like your own character trait that you
I
just
just did.
have
Yeah, I
inside.
just felt like I was just different.
Got
Like
that
not that I
dog.
was like a machine or something, but here's the thing. It's caught not taught. Like my parents, the gift that they gave me was the gift of drive. And my parents were always workaholics. They always worked like countless hours. They just never gave up. They never quit. They never called in sick. I never saw my parents ever home sick. They never pulled the lazy card.
They were out there
right?
working every day and night.
And a lot of people can, you can abuse the system. You can do all that stuff. But the thing is the lazy card, the only thing it hurts is you. That's it. Because all you're doing is teaching yourself. Like yourself is watching your subconscious. It's keeping track of it. All your moves, all your little moments, all your little actions. It knows that you're lazy. It knows that you're pulling a cop out because your thumb hurts or your stomach hurts. It knows. It knows when you're being lazy. And that's the thing. So when you're trying to think big, I always thought to like an overextent, and a lot of people called me a dreamer. They're like, dude, you're freaking crazy. You're a dreamer, bro. You're going to go in the Marine Corps right away. Then you're going to do what? Oh, I'm going to go to recon. I'm going to go to the scout sniper school. Like those things never happened, but I tried.
You took the first.
I tried. I tried to get in the recon 3 times.
10, 12 steps that needed to go on.
I did. I applied for scout sniper school. Like there was things that just weren't in my realm of things, but like I always thought big. I thought the biggest, but still I landed in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then I landed in the Marine Corps. I picked up sergeant when I got out.
Right on.
So like, and I had a pretty good tour. But like what I'm trying to get at is when you shoot massive and you come a little shallow, you've still done something that's big. It may not have been massive, but it was big.
Shoot for this. Stars, you end up in the sky, something like that. I don't
Correct.
know. There's a very nice saying.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those like little, good sayings. Yeah, there's like what else was I was going to say another one. I just totally forgot.
Colt. Like I'm a coach, right? But I'm also an individual athlete, and every time I step on the mat, the goal is to win, and the goal is to take first. And I've been lucky to experience that multiple times, right? But I've also taken second. I've also taken third. You know what I'm saying? I've also like fell short. And when you show up to a place like that, like, okay, boom, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take first. And let's say like you lose your first or second match and it's not going to happen anymore, right? But you're still in it. Like now it's time to get the next best thing. But even though like you fell short, like you're still a G for trying. You're still so much better than you were for not endeavoring.
Right.
Thinking big is like sometimes that's hard for me because maybe I think realistic. Like, okay, what's realistic? And that's what grounds me real quick. So maybe you have like think big and then like what's realistic in the middle and then friggin' limiting beliefs on the bottom.
So I like that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get away with. That's what I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah, I got you.
Through this. And the only reason I say that is because what I've learned is thinking realistic is thinking small, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or actually kind of fast forward. Small.
I dig that though. That's the.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's going the opposite direction.
It's going the opposite direction only because small thinking breeds small creativity, right? Small creativity leads to low grade action, and low grade action, they create low grade results. You can't expect to make big moves in life while keeping your thoughts and goals small. So like if you're consistently thinking of like, just staying like relative, just staying like within the norm, like, oh, I'm just going to pay my bills. I'm going to make enough. I'm going to just stay within, I'm going to keep going to my job. Like for whatever reason, that's just small thinking, right? And small thinking just keeps your hopes. It keeps you kind of confined and kind of like the norm, right? And human beings work better.
That's what your small thinking is what kind of got you in this situation to begin with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
yeah.
If it's a problem,
Yeah.
you were like, you didn't think of a good enough answer, and now you're still in a weird, different problem.
It's the same thing with like working out. Like if you're thinking about building muscle, right? Mm-hmm. And you're lifting, 10 pounds, on bench, right? And you're like looking at yourself in the mirror, like, man, I'm just not gaining any weight. I'm not looking better. I'm not building muscle. Well, it's because you haven't extended it. You haven't tried to push to 20 pounds and 30 pounds. You're not trying to push yourself. You're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to do 50 pounds eventually or 100 pounds. I'm just giving an analogy here. You have to think bigger and then your body and your mind all compensate for that. It always compensates for the difference in what you think. So if you think that you're a millionaire and you constantly think and you live like you're a millionaire, even if you don't have the money, if your mind is always set on that, it's always like, I'm doing, like you live, you dress, you appear, you act. All those things allow you to eventually formulate the future self. Like you're already living in the future when you think like that. I'm not talking about like anxiety wise where you're like worrying. This is a positive thinking matter.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. Like you're more stepping towards that person, stepping in that direction.
If you feel like you're 6'7", people will treat you like you're 6'7" when you walk into a room. Mm-hmm. They feel the power. People are emotional, right? And
that's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I feel that sometimes when I'm playing jiu-jitsu, like I'm gonna do this move. It doesn't matter if they're gonna stop it or they're gonna try to stop it. I'm still gonna do it. You know, you just have that weird confidence, that weird like you already know the answer. To carry that around in your life though, to win big is sick. Like that's what we're after.
Oh, it is, because eventually it comes to fruition. That's what I'm trying to get at. The goal eventually comes. You don't even realize that, because once all this thinking of you being this person, eventually you move into that suit. You move into that mold. You wake up into that seat because you're already thinking that it's already happened. That's why I always tell people, like, you know, especially like in the companies and whatever, and they talk about like, oh, I want to be this position eventually. And I'm like, okay, well then act like it. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you mean act like it? Act like you're already there. Like I shouldn't have to ask you to clean the trucks if you want to be a supervisor. You should already have done that, because that's what a supervisor thinks.
You're already doing the next job.
You have to think as if you are that already. You have to act like it. You have to show it. It's not going to just appear. Mm-hmm. What am I going to say? Hey, you're a supervisor now, and then all of a sudden you're just going to act like it? No, you either have the traits from the beginning or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you picked it up.
So like something I learned when I was a kid, and I want to get back to this, they called me crazy. I was called the delusional thinker. That's what my parents always called me. My mom honestly would always tell me, just get a job, just get a good job, you know, make some good money, and then just let the company pay you your $1 a year or whatever, your little percentage. That never jived with me. My whole family worked for Water and Power. My dad, my grandpa, my great-grandpa. They were all working for it. And it's a great job. The great job being a lineman.
Benefits,
money. Start off
money.
at good pay, you know, secure, you know. But
you'll
the thing
move
is,
up, all of it.
The thing is I always saw my dad gone. Okay, this is before he changed, right? He was always gone, always working, made good money, but he was always gone. He was never there. I didn't want that. I was like, no, I want to be a multimillionaire so that I can give my kids more opportunity. And I want to have the free time to spend with them. Like, what is a life when you work your entire life till you're 65, 70 years old, to then what? Have 10 years before you die and then just die? Like, why? Why? Even if you could retire at 55, how much time do you have left? Like, a quality time. I'm not saying like 55 and then, okay, I'm free for 10, 20 years. No, like you're starting to hurt. Like your body's changing. Like you can't do the same thing that you could have when you were in your 30s or your 40s and whatnot. Like, I didn't want to wait for that. I would rather take the risk in the beginning, think big, shoot for the stars, and then fall on my face over and over again. And no matter what, I would get up and I would continue the same habits no matter what. If I went bankrupt, if I lost it all, if I couldn't afford whatever, I didn't give a shit. I was going to just keep starting over no matter what. The habits remain the same. I get up, I get after it, I get some, I motivate, I think big, I learn, I consistently learn from my mistakes. I'm constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again, and I keep learning, right? Over and over again. But no matter what, the thinking big is still there. It's like the tough guy, you know, like you know, when you were like a kid, you know, you had like this bully that always, you know, it was always there. But if, you know, you see that short guy that he was always picking up on, right? But no matter what, he'd always think they could kick his butt, and he'd always fight, even though he'd get his butt kicked, you know, like that short guy syndrome, you know. But eventually, the bigger guy doesn't want to mess with him anymore because he gets annoyed that the guy still stands up for himself and he doesn't get phased. So eventually, you get past that bully, you get past that big guy, right? And the big guy in life here is just life in general, making money, right? Just getting to that point to where you're making and you're taking and you're living the life that you ultimately wanted to live, and you're making the money that you want to make, and all that stuff just comes from thinking big. My parents would always tell me, like, yeah, just get a job and just live mediocre, and just make good money and then work for somebody else. But after I saw my mom laid off, my mom worked for this bank, and this is what kind of changed my thought process. She worked for this bank called Interstate Bank years ago. And, they switched over, and then Countrywide bought them out, the home loans place. And then she worked for this place in foreclosure finance for years. And then she like barely made it, like taking care of us. She made just enough. She was always shooting for that annual salary, raise or whatever, hourly raise. And it would be like 8 cents or whatever it was. And she was always like, okay, well, it's stable, it's structured, I can take care of my kids, I have benefits and whatever. But at the end of the day, I remember after like 13 years, they finally laid her off. They were like, hey, we don't need your services anymore. And my mom was like scared, she didn't know what to do. She went looking for jobs and couldn't really find it because she was older by then. And after that, I thought, man, you work for the man, you give him your life, and then all of a sudden what? You get nothing at the end, right? You have nothing to show for it. And then eventually, like, what if you start over at like 55 or 50 or 45?
That's scarier for a lot of people.
That's scary. I'd rather do that now. I'd rather start in my late 20s and just try to figure it out until I figure it out, and then struggle and try to make, a name for myself and get out there and, start something and then work into something else and then build into something even bigger than that, just so that I have a chance to really live my life the way that I want to live it, But yeah, they were always telling me to live by my means, and set realistic goals, But even as a kid, I knew that mindset was a trap. I just knew it was a trap, So small thinking breeds small creativity. We just went over all this stuff. You got to think big, okay? Your vision needs to be massive. Think massive gains, okay? Like, how can I get to the next process, the next level, right? Create your systems, modify your systems, and that just comes with being in the personal realm. Like, have systems, to where, like, when you work out, like, what are you working out? Back, buys, chest, tries. Like, how's your rotation? Are you bulking 1 week? You building up 1 week and then, cutting the next week? Or how are you doing it? Like, are you, like, do you have a plan, And then of that plan, how are you thinking when you put together that plan? And then is there a roadmap to gain, traction in that plan? And that's just for working out, right? And then in your personal life, your personal goals and stuff like that, like, what is your plan for money in your life? Like, how do you want to live it? Like, how do you want to live your life? Like, if you sat there and you thought about your life, and this is something like I'm going to ask you, like, what do you think? Like, do you think of like your life as like a struggle every day? Do you think of it as like, I want to own my own house? I want to live in Malibu. I don't know, Like, what do you think? Like, having ultimate freedom, traveling, teaching jujitsu maybe for you? Like, that's something to think about, right? You got to think about, like, what is the ultimate perfect life? And this is the reason why I talk about thinking big. Because most people don't think small. Like, they don't want to think small. They just think small because it's security, right? They think of like, oh, I just want to pay my bills. I just want to live happily ever after. I want to have my husband home all the time. And, I want to have my kids home all the time. And I just want to live a real mediocre life. I want to go out to dinner every Friday. And that's it. And that's secure for me, Me, I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like, I want to travel the world. I want to be in Monaco, man. I want to be like racing race cars. I mean, like, jumping out of planes, like, I want to live life, man. I want to be on my deathbed dying and being like, man, I lived a freaking cool life, man.
Wow.
Like happy as can be, ready to go off into, to go travel to heaven. And that's just how I think, That's like, cool. I don't ever want to be in my deathbed thinking I lived the most boringest life and I wished I did this. I wished I talked to that girl. I wish I, made that money. I wish I would have traveled more. I wish I would have been able to take my girls places, man. Like, that's living, man.
I got it.
Like, I don't ever want to be that dude that my kids, have like decent jobs and they're happy where they're at. And by all means, like, if you're happy doing something that just doesn't make a lot of money, like, hey, by all means, like, that's your life. That's your goals, right? That might be your thinking big. You see what I'm saying? My thinking big might be completely different than your thinking big. My thinking big might be like hundreds of millions of dollars worth. Your thinking big might be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. Of thought processes and like how you're going to live and, like, this is how I'm going to live. This is how I'm thinking, right? But I think that you got to figure out ultimately like what you want. And like what I want for me is I want to be that dad that no matter where I'm at in a relationship space, I want to be the guy that my daughters are like, this is my dad. He's my rock.
That's cool.
I can always come to him. He'll always take care of me. He always has my back, no matter what. I can always rely on him. If I need money, if I need someone to work out with me, someone to, pick me up when I'm down, someone to travel with. My dad's going to take me here. My dad's going to show me the life that he never had. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to learn from my dad. And then I'm going to pass that off to my family. You know what I'm saying?
When in the
That's
beginning,
generational.
In the beginning, we were talking about like, who taught you this? And you're like, I don't know. I just always had it. Then you talked about your parents and that they had drive, and they got up every morning and they went after it.
Yeah.
But then
every day.
But then you were a little bit sad that took away from you, and then now here you are as your adult version and you have the drive, but you always put your kids like center, so they're not lacking for anything. And I know sometimes like they're teenagers, they don't even want to be around you and stuff, but like you make dinner for them every once a week, like you spend your time with them and like you guys do stuff during the week, right? You guys like go get ice cream sometimes. I see you guys like doing like little mini missions all the time. Like that's cool though.
Yeah.
Like that is not like, I don't know if that's normal, right? But like they're with you. You know what I'm saying? So like it's cool. Like they get to see what the grind is, even if they could like, like you provide more for them.
If they're asking you questions, that means that they see what you're doing. They see it and they have a level of respect. My daughters always ask me all the time, like, Dad, how do I do this? Dad, what's up with this? They don't ask their other parents those questions. They ask me those questions. And the reason why is because they know deep down inside that I have it somewhat figured out. Even if I don't have it all figured out, which I don't. No, I don't think anyone does. I think just in life we're all trying to figure it out, period, right? But I think the difference is if you keep your habits the same. Because you show me your habits, I'll show you your future. And I say that to everyone. Show me your habits, I'll show you your future. Show me your closest 5 friends, and I'll show you your future. And that's probably the most important thing is like, for me, like, I only have like 1 or 2 friends that I really associate with, that I call like friends, that I chill with on a regular basis, that somewhat push me. And I'm always looking for others. I'm always looking for more people that can take me to the bigger stage, because thinking big is all relevant to who you hang around with. That's the big of the part. Like I am completely driven off of certain people that I network with off of Instagram. And I'm on a lower scale. Like some people are like, oh, you're doing pretty well on it. You look like an influencer or whatever. And I'm like, nah, just barely here, And I'm totally like humbled by, like my presence and what I am. But there's people with like millions and millions of followers, and they're doing it on like a massive scale. And so those are the people that I kind of like, I wouldn't say like I look up to, but that's where I want to be at, because for me, I want to be a level of big changes. I want to be able to have influence so hard, and I want to be so smart, and I want to be so educated, and I want to teach other people to do the same, because I think that low grade, small thinking, it deprives people from opportunity. And I believe that if anyone thinks that they love their family, right? Because everyone says they love their family, but do you really love your family? Do you really love your kids? Because let's just be real. Who wants to give their kid a lesser of a life? Who does? Who would raise their hand right now and just say, I want to give my kid the lowest quality life possible. I want to give my kid, if my kid has to go to track and it's $100 a month or whatever, and I can't afford it, like you take away opportunity from your child. What about your kid going to college? My kids are set in every way, because I started it that way, and I built my life this way. Some people complain. I even have like some family members that, their energy's low. They're always operating at a low frequency, and they're always complaining about my life. Oh, it must be nice to drive a GMC Yukon, and that's just all negative energy stuff. But the reason why is because that's how they feel. They feel that they wish they had what you had, because they didn't have the energy, right, and know-how. They didn't build it. They didn't construct it, and they just have low quality thinking. And for that reason, they have to project how they feel outward. And so that's just how they naturally feel, because what happens is when people see you doing well, and this is why I always say to promote you doing well, like show it, show the nice cars, show the nice shit, show you working out, show the people around you, show your happiness online, show that shit, because it changes people. It's going to piss people off, but those are the people that you need to help the most. The people that are pissed off, it's just like the haters. I love the haters, man. I freaking love them, man. I heart their stuff. Oh, they'll write me something. I'll blow them a kissy face, man. I love it, man. Hate me all you want. Hate me all you want. Hate whatever I'm doing. I don't care. Because you know why? Because if you're writing something, you're up in my DMs and I'm not up in yours. Mm-hmm. That's the difference, right? Because I'm doing something for you. And you just don't feel it yet. You're feeling that little feeling in your stomach of, man, this is uncomfortable seeing all this shit. Man, that's uncomfortable that he took his shirt off at the gym. You know what? It feels good to take my shirt off at the gym. I feel like a man. I feel like a man. A man's supposed to be strong. A man's supposed to be able to protect his family, and I feel like I can. And if you can't, then you need to reevaluate yourself, because that's not a man. A man should be able to take care of his fucking family, straight up. And if you can't, then that's just your thing, you know? Just don't ask me, you know, how I'm feeling, you know, because I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling, and it might hurt your feelings. I'm going to be like, hell yeah, I'm feeling fucking good. I'm feeling like the best I've ever felt my entire life. I'm more fit now than I was when I was 21 years old at 41. I feel better. I feel more knowledgeable. I feel more excited. Like, I am excited to wake up every morning. How could you not want to think big and think about there's so much this world offers? And this is crazy because 5 years ago, I didn't even want to be alive. And now I got so many freaking things to do, man. Like, there is so much shit to do.
Yeah.
No matter your age, there is so much more you can do if you get into the positive mindset of thinking big. There is so much more, man.
You bring up like starting over at like an older age. And when I think about that, like let's say I do want to do something else in life later on. I don't see that as a negative. I see that as a positive. Like,
totally,
there's so much more to experience. I could be an expert in something else.
Dude,
you know, I could reinvent myself. Like, that to me is like a blessing.
People always say that, oh, I'm going to get older. I'm going to get slower. It's like, yeah, maybe a little bit. But here's the thing. You can build muscle forever. Forever, guys. You can build muscle forever. Anyone that thinks that just because you're getting older, no. Getting older, yeah, you get some kinks here and there. But ultimately, if you stay in shape and you eat well, I've seen people in their 80s, even closer to 90s, like just completely cognitively there. Like, you have so much time. So even if you're 40 years old, that's like 45, 50 years from now. Think about how long you feel like you've been alive as of today if you're 40 years old, right? Just think about that. It feels like it's been a long time, but a short time. But it still feels like a long time.
And it'll never be enough time.
It'll never be enough time, right? And so you have so much. We're living in the best present day possible. I think we are living in the best times right now, where things are so at our fingertips. Things are getting a lot easier to do. We have social media where we can express ourselves. We can show our true selves, and we have so much opportunity. Like this is like people that are just low thinkers, you know, like little thinkers. Like I just wish you could hear me right now. If you're just sitting at home, you're like, man, I can watch you all day long, but I have no action. You know, it's like, if you could just take what I'm saying for a second, just think about this. You will never get anywhere if you have little thinking. You just can't, you know. And if you think of how much more opportunity there is out there for you, there's just so much, man. There's just so much. There's just so much you got to experience in life. Like, I think about all the things I want to do. I want to go on an African safari, man. Like, I want to be like with lions jumping on cages and, like those African safaris.
That's cool. Yeah.
You know, I want to visit like different continents. You know, I want to go to like Sweden. I want to like travel. There's just so much left to do, and there's not enough time. I'm telling you right now, there is not enough time for the things that I want to do. But better yet, you know, I want to be able to pass on whatever I've learned to the world, you know, on a big scale. And I want to get smarter. And this is my journey, and I'm glad that everyone follows us on our journey, because ultimately, like, this is a part of it. This is really a big part of it. It's just speaking into this mic and having the present day today to focus on that. And if I could leave with anything today, I would just say your family deserves for you to think big.
You're lying.
Yeah, they do. Because they don't deserve less. If you don't think big, you're thinking less. Regardless of how you feel about it. No, I'm thinking conservatively. Okay, you can say that. You can think relatively, you know, you can think like just simply. But the thing is like, if you really love your family, right, you need to think about giving them everything. Like, people say, oh, I want to give my family everything. But then they don't do the steps needed to give them everything. And honestly, like if you have Instagram or Facebook, you can find out a million ways of how to become rich, how to have money, how to have freedom, how to have a better body, how to think better. I mean, if you really put your mind to it, the thing is like we don't have a learning problem, we have an application problem. People have problems applying things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a problem learning things. They have a problem applying things. And that's just a simple fact, right? Because a lot of people think that they can do certain things and they're like, oh yeah, I can already do that. But, taking the action step forward and applying it just seems like a bigger task.
Action is always the thing that separates people.
Oh yeah. And that's why I like a lot of these personal development programs that everyone gives away.
Everybody's got ideas. Everybody's got the best advice. Everybody's got ways to make money, but they don't.
Why do you think personal development, why do you think fitness programs are like one of the biggest things on the market right now? Like people actually like buying into it. Everyone buys into it, but no one follows through. That's why you need a good coach, a good mentor.
To help push you along the way.
To push you, to keep you held accountable. Like when I dropped my personal development and my physical fitness program, I'm not going to take on people that are going to quit on themselves. I won't. If you start slacking, I'm going to fire you straight up. I won't. Like, so don't come to me thinking you're just going to give me money. I don't want your fucking money. I want you to be better. And if you're not willing to be better, I'm going to fucking fire you straight up. And I'm going to tell people that from the beginning. That's it. You got to follow my program. You got to do it this way. And I need to see results. It's a requirement. That's it. I don't care how much money you pay me. I'm not your bitch. Straight up. I'm not going to be here and be, hey, I'm paying you. I've heard that before. No. This is a privilege.
It's
like you're choosing the right person. You're choosing someone that's going to hold you accountable. That's really what you're buying into.
We're doing an energy transfer, and I'm here to push you. But if you're not going to push yourself, you're bringing me down.
Correct.
I didn't need that. Get that. You're over here to learn from me.
Well, because that's what worked for me, not adhering to my adversities. People that didn't adhere to my adversities are like my best friends. Those are my best friends. Those are the people that are the closest to me, like my brother. My brother Joey's never been the one to like agree with me on everything. He'd be like, no, you're fucking off. You're fucking up. I don't like it. You got to fix that about yourself. It bothers me. Fix it. Okay. Instead of like going along with it, right? Because that sounds cool, right? The people that are the closest to you probably have the least amount of friends. If they're really good for you, realistically, because they're always the ones that tell you the truth. People that tell people the truth tend to be liked by a lot of people, mostly. But like as far as like having like super close friends, you'll notice that they don't have a lot of super close friends. Like their circle is very, very small. The amount of people that they trust. Because just in general, like human beings, especially now these days, they just don't. They're very like people just feel like I don't know. I feel like people want more than they're willing to give. And I think that just comes from low quality thinking. Like we keep going back to the same thing. They're setting realistic goals. Like they just want to be comfortable. They just want to get their little hustles here and there to kind of get by, to get their little trip on, to get their little time saving. I remember being a kid, man, and my mom always telling me like, hey mom, when are we gonna plan a trip? Oh, we got one next summer. We're gonna go camping in Lake Casitas. I'm like, oh my God, that's like a year away. 2 years. I mean, it's like, Mom, I'm 9 years old. I want to go somewhere. I want to go fishing right now. I want to be like, hey, you want to go fishing? Let's go next weekend, son or daughter. Whatever. Maybe I'll have a son one day. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's the whole thing. It's like you just got to be able to have that freedom, man. You know. And I don't know. I'll never go back on like the way that I think. I don't think I could change the way that I think. I think that it's rare. I think it's rare to think like we think. I think we're all always thinking
You're a little
big.
bit further along because I told you I try to think realistic. Now I got to change that.
Right.
Because that wasn't helping me grow. Got to level that up.
Well, Future says it the best, bro. Bitch, don't get too comfortable.
Oh.
Never get too comfortable. Right? That's my song, man.
That's the outro.
That's my hit, man. Maybe we could do an outro on
Yeah,
this one
outro
for
song.
that, Ghost. What do you think? Yeah. But check it out. He says it the right way, though. When you hear it, the way that the music's playing, the way that the energy's playing.
I'm going to listen to it today.
We've all heard this song, right? Too Comfortable, right? From Future, right?
No, but I'll listen to it today.
God, bro. We got to hook you up, bro.
I want to listen to that stuff.
Hits hard. And the way that he comes into it, man, and he talks about it, he says, don't get too comfortable. You better not get too comfortable. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because comfort is your way out. That's the easy way out.
Conformity kills.
Conformity kills. You can't get comfortable, bro. You got to consistently be uncomfortable. If you're struggling with your bills, but you're trying to make it big, you're winning. You're winning. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You're winning here. It doesn't matter what happens. The end result doesn't matter because the ultimate goal is to just follow your habits. The habits are what's going to keep you going. It's like, okay, well, I tried that and then I failed. I tried that and then I failed. I tried it. But eventually, after 99 times, you're eventually going to catch one. And then now you're at this huge level, right? And you can always start over. Like, people got to stop worrying about starting over, man. You got to think big. You got to think the biggest possible option. Make people think you're a dreamer. Make them think you're crazy. And then 10 years from now, they'll be asking for a fucking job. And I said this to myself in 2014 when I first started. I was in my garage. I was struggling. I had no money. I remember my wife at the time was like, we can't even pay our bills. Can you go to the grocery store and get some eggs? And I was like, I don't have any money right now. I paid my dudes the last $50 I had, you know, like out of the garage. Garage is like cracked. The truck's like parked, you know, all jacked up. And guys were using my bathroom, running in and out, all sweaty, you know, like we were just trying to figure it out. And she thought it was fucking crazy. She's like, you're crazy, man. Like, why would you do this? Why would you spend the last 10 grand you had on starting this company, you know? And why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? And I told her, I was like, because I have a different vision. I think differently.
She couldn't see it.
She couldn't see it.
It'd be like that.
It's the same thing with my house. I've been in multiple houses, and then, you know, one of my houses, I ended up expanding it. I made it like a 5-unit complex, you know. I was like, I want to make this house pay for itself, and I did. And everything I think of, it has to be on a massive scale. I can't just sit normal. I can't even sit down and just think normally. I have to think on like a broader scale, you know? Like, I got to be this. I got to do this. And why do we do that, though? Like, why do we do that? Because it makes us feel good when we're extremely, like, our vision's big. It does something to the human brain. It does something. It, like, triggers, like, effort. It triggers energy. It triggers action. Like, those are the things that we need as a human being to push forward. So the more action you have, the more successful you're going to be, right? I may not be the smartest person. I'm telling you right now, I'm not like an extremely smart dude. I struggle with testing. Okay, I fucking suck balls at testing, all right? I blow. Every single test I've ever had, I've failed multiple times, okay? Whether it be in school, whether it be for a department, or even even in Department of Water and Power when I tried out, I just failed every test. I'm just not a test taker, and I always sucked. But if someone talked to me and about something, I could give them the right answers. But for some reason, like, testing was always a problem for me. It always made my grades look like shit. Like, I barely graduated high school. I had to beg my English teacher to give me a good grade. What I'm trying to say is, my thinking never outweighed like how I looked on paper. Like, it never weighed on that. It never was like, oh, well, you know. And I think maybe people judge me for that, and we're like, oh, you know, you're not very good at like the book part. But I had this unthinkable drive, and I've always had it. It's like a gift, you know. And my daughter actually has it too, and I've told her, I'm like, you have to use that. That's a gift. You can't not let that go to waste, because it's rare. It's rare to have that much drive. And she's like, well, I struggle with this, and I struggle with school, and I struggle with this. And I'm like, dude, check it out. It doesn't matter what you struggle with. Just get up and get after and get some every freaking day through action, you know? Show me your habits, I'll show you your future. Straight up. Think big, guys, every day. Think the biggest possible outcomes of anything. Think on a massive level. Don't settle for mediocre. Don't settle for just realistic goals. I mean, we're in America, guys. Think big, right? This is why we're here, right? Why are we here? We're not living in a third world country where, like, you know, you can only be a man to make money. You could be a woman. You could be a man. You could be a tranny. You could be freaking alien. Yeah, like, whatever. You could be anything you want, and you can make it as long as you have the right amount of action. And there's always someone out there to support you. And there's going to be haters. There's going to be haters. Haters are going to hate. But no matter what, as long as you provide good action, you're going to come out on top.
Right on.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Take that first step. Take action. You know, even if it's the wrong way, you're going to learn. And then you'll have more knowledge to make a better decision the next time you're at bat. And you keep growing from that. You keep growing from your L's. But if you never take an L, you're too scared. Like, you're staying still. And that's not ever going to be a good thing. The world will friggin' run you over. Somebody else will step on you to get to where they want to be.
Oh, 100%. And just keep this in mind. I want to bring back something from like Jeff Bezos and Amazon. When he started off Amazon, he started off as a book company. You know that? Selling books online, virtual. Yeah. There's a thing that I like read up on him, and when he had started, like, people laughed at him, just like they did Elon Musk, and they were like, "Oh, this is crazy. You're gonna sell books. You're gonna make money on that." And honestly, his vision was a online book company, like reading online and things like that. And he had a really good idea. Then he took it to another level. So, like, just because you start something, if you have the access to think big, thinking big opens up more opportunities, and it also opens your mind up for more openness, to be more open about other ideas. He ended up starting something that was completely made for one thing and then turned it into something that's like the biggest it's ever been. Like, Amazon's the biggest company in the world. Straight up. They're going to be like the first $1 trillion company, more than likely, right? Something like that. So then you got people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk had started off, I think it was SpaceX, right? Was it SpaceX?
I think his first thing was
and then
like PayPal.
Yeah, it was PayPal. And then I think something to do with, he was almost bankrupt just a little bit ago. I think it was
a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, with Tesla. It was Tesla. He was almost bankrupt with Tesla. And I read an article how he almost lost everything and he was just going to go under, and he used the government's money. He had a really good idea. But he kept the vision. He just kept the vision and kept thinking big. And he was actually thinking beyond his means. He never actually had the money. He was always like paying Peter to pay Paul. Mm-hmm. But his vision was so big and he was so confident because he was so many steps ahead that he wasn't worried about where he was here. So he was like 5 steps behind. If you could see me on YouTube, he was always like 5 steps behind in his vision board. But his mind was always 5 steps ahead. And he was, autistic, or he is autistic, and just kind of the way he thinks. But that dude never gave up. He always sought a way through it. And his vision was always so big that everyone just kind of followed. And if you're a big thinker, people naturally gravitate towards that. This is my closing. People will always navigate and gravitate towards a big thinker, someone that thinks big, because people have dreams. And if they can't live their dreams because they don't know how to live them, they want to live your dreams. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to do something, people naturally gravitate towards you and they're like, okay, yeah, I don't know what you're doing. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah, we want to be close to you because we know that you'll use us in a good way.
Not even just that, just the energy. The energy makes them feel better.
It's infectious.
It's infectious.
They know that they're in they're in a situation where they're going to learn something.
Correct. They're going to learn something and they're going to make their lives better through you. Mm-hmm. But guess what? You're really making their lives better. And they're making your lives better by attaching themselves to you and then having the same vision board as you. Mm-hmm. So people that see your vision as being big because you're a big thinker, people like dreamers. They love that. Just don't think that like there's going to be people that are going to hate you, because there is. There's going to be a lot of people that hate you. There's going to be people that try to tear you down. But guess what? That's fine. Mm-hmm. Let them. I need those people. Those people make me want to get up every day and prove you wrong. Like when people doubt me, I'm just like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll see. That's fine. Yeah, I told you. I'm going to make 100 million. That's my goal. And I'm going to make it in the next 10 years. So you can watch me all you want. But when you need a job, just let me know. I'll hook you up. Mm-hmm. I got your back, right? But check it out. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I saw a post of this dude, Wes Watson, and it was hilarious. And he had a post. And he had 2 cars behind him. A white Phantom and a black Phantom. Okay, those are Rolls-Royce Phantoms, just so you know. They're super expensive. And he was talking about, hey, you can call me this, you can call me that, you can call me a narcissist, you can call me whatever. But on a real note, which one should I drive tonight? The white one or the black one? And that was the post. I'll never forget that post. And I just said, you're fucking right. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anyone says. All that matters is the action. Like what you actually did. Did you do it? Because you can say whatever you want about me. But at the end of the day, what am I doing that you're not? And how did I get to where I'm at? Does it make you dream? Does it make you think? Does it make you understand that it's possible? Because at the end of the day, no matter who the fuck you hate, no matter who's up there, no matter who you envy, no matter who you're jealous of, whatever, you got to give them credit that they're making you wonder how they got there, right? And you're curious about it. Mm-hmm. Because nobody wants to live a mediocre life. No one wants to settle for less. Nobody. I don't think there's anyone that just says, I just want to be a dope fiend on the street. Not even dope fiends. They want to kick the habit. They wish they could. They just don't know how. But if they could, you think they want that forever? Hell no. They just got to find the way out, right? Mm-hmm. But they haven't figured out their why yet. That's why. But once they figure out their why, they'll figure out the how. And that's what you guys need to do. Think big, guys. Because thinking big is not only good for you, it's good for the people around you. You thinking big gives people hope. It makes people want to follow you. It makes them want you to lead them, right? And get them out of whatever it is they're doing, right? So that they have some sort of future. So in reality, you thinking big is saving their life.
Right on. Beautiful.
Anything else?
Bitch, don't get too comfortable.
Bet not get too comfortable.
Outro. Hit it.
You want to play it? You want to play it?
No, it'll get taken down. Oh.
All right, guys. Get up, get after it, and get some.
Bitch, don't get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Yeah, bitch, don't get too